Hello guys, welcome back to the Timber Forge. Today I'm going to be going over the submissions that I got for the data pack challenge, the vegetation / nature data pack challenge. So we got more than last time, quite a few more. We got, I think, over double of what we got last time, or about double what we got last time. But I'll be going over all of these data packs, starting from the smallest data packs to the largest data packs. And all of these submissions are really awesome, and I'm really glad with what you guys came up with. So without further delay, let's just get right into the data packs. The first one is by XORSK2006, and what he created was a Spore Wand, a boss, and an added bleeding effect. So if I get 10 oak leaves, 3 nether stars, so it is quite an expensive crafting recipe, 10 oak logs, and a stack of sticks, I will get a nice looking Spore Wand. Now, it was a very expensive crafting recipe, but the reason is that this item summons a stream of spores when you shoot it, and it just destroys the ground in an explosion to wherever you click. So if I click right here, it'll just create an explosion and leave a cool effect. And something else you'll notice is that it poisons any mobs that were caught inside of its explosion radius. So it is a very powerful weapon, which is why it is so expensive to make, because it does not have a fire rate cap, or if it does, it has a very quick fire rate. So it is a very powerful weapon. Now we'll get to the boss. The boss which is added is quite an easy boss to summon, but I don't believe that it gives you anything in return, so it's just a nice little boss that you could fight. It is a stack of bone meal, a water bucket, and a stack of wheat seeds, and you'll get this hideous looking scary eyeball monster that fights you. And it basically works as an elder guardian that's able to follow you and track you down on land. And arrows do not seem to work on it, so you do have to get up close to it. But the issue with that is that you will have to get within range of its laser, and its laser, as you probably know if you fought an Elder Guardian, does quite a bit of damage. But the boss is quite weak and does not actually drop anything. So as you can see from the crafting recipe and how easy it was to fight, it is quite an early game boss. And the bleeding effect is also pretty cool, which I'll show you right now. As you can see, I have jump boost, speed, and haste 2, and that's because of how much health I have. If you have 9 hearts or over, you get those buffs. But if you lose that health, and I wait for that to go away, you'll see that I lost the speed, jump, and haste. And this weakness is just from this bow, which is from another data pack, which I'll show you later. But if you lose enough health, what happens is that you get even more debuffs. So as you can see now, when I go in third person, I'm bleeding, and you can actually see it in first person too. And the consequences of bleeding is that you get weakness, blindness, and slowness permanently until you get more than 1 heart. Something else to mention about XOR's data pack is that it changes the models of some of the flowers to make them 3D. So it changes all of the tulips, and these all look very nice. They definitely look like a tulip. And then this is the allium. It has a very nice ball on the top of it. And the wither rose and the poppy. Those are all the flowers that it changes. I really like the wither rose model. I think it really fits it. But my favorite has got to be the mushroom, the red mushroom. I love the spots on it. Kind of looks gross, but in like a really mushroomy way. And it also changes the diamond ore so that it has actual pieces of diamond sticking out of it, which I think looks pretty cool. So the next data pack we have is made by Bob0713 on the Discord server, and he created a pumpkin pet. Now the pumpkin pet is actually really cool. So let's go into this chest and see what it has. So what you want to do is get 10 pumpkin seeds, a nether star, and a totem of undying. And you have to drop all of these onto soul sand. Now it's quite an expensive recipe, but I think that it's pretty worth it because of the strength of the pumpkin pet. So when you drop these all onto soul sand, you'll notice that you get a weird pumpkin seed. And when you plant this on grass, you'll notice that it just places down and sits there. And after a while, it will end up hatching, and or not hatching, it's a seed, so it'll end up growing up and becoming the pumpkin pet. So while we wait for that, I'm actually going to move on to the next data pack, which is made by inav23, who's a mod on my Discord server, and he created the Peashooter from Plants vs. Zombies. So all you have to do to craft it is use 4 oak leaves, a dispenser, and an observer. So it's a pretty cheap crafting recipe, and if you use floor crafting, you can summon it right here. And as you can see, it has a really nice model to it because it looks exactly like in the game. It's a very spherical and detailed model. Now, if you use zombies, it will actually shoot it just like in the game. And the cool thing is that they interact in 2 ways, so they actually attack each other. So as you can see, the zombies actually try attacking the Peashooter, and the Peashooter tries fighting back. And if the zombies eat into it enough, then the Peashooter will actually end up dying. As you can see, it just drops onto the ground. But the cool thing is that you actually get the Peashooter back. So you could use this for home defense if you want, and it's pretty cool. And as you can see, the pumpkin pet is starting to grow up. So this is the first stage of growth past the seed, and then it will become a pumpkin pet. So this Peashooter is a really nice addition to the game and can be used to defend your house. I could just imagine you have a house and just surround it with Peashooters. You go into the night, you just hit a bunch of zombies, you lure them towards you, you sit in your house, and you watch them all get massacred by the Peashooters. The pumpkin pet, you'll get basically a notification when he comes alive. He grows up into the actual pumpkin pet. Now, I think I missed it, but when it goes from that melon, it actually turns into a pumpkin afterwards. And the pumpkin pet comes alive. But at first, you can't really do anything about him unless you get bones, which you have to use to tame him, kind of like how you would tame a wolf pet. So if you click on him, just like a wolf, there's a chance that it won't work and a chance that it will work. When you get the hearts, it works. And now you could basically use him like a wolf. So when you click, you could see in chat when it says standing or sitting. So if I make him stand, he will follow me around just like a pet wolf or pet cat would, and it functions basically the same. Now, something really cool about these guys is that they are very strong at fighting, and I'm pretty sure they also don't take fall damage, so they won't fall if you take them into a ravine with you. But when fighting against an iron golem, as displayed in his video, which you could go check out, the pumpkin pet is actually strong enough to fight an iron golem. So if you actually just hit him yourself, he will attack whatever you attack and is strong enough to 1v1 an iron golem. So as we can see, it kind of looks like a wrestling match, but he's getting thrown around by the iron golem. But in the end, he will end up winning against it, even though he is getting knocked back. And I think right now they're kind of stuck in the corner. Let me nudge this guy. There we go. So the pumpkin pet is able to jump around and basically stomp on top of the iron golem in order to kill him. Now the pumpkin pet is able to die, but is in general able to defeat an iron golem. There we go. So you can use these as very powerful pets, and that is why it costs another star and a totem of undying in order to create them. So this guy is a nice little pet. So I'll just keep him sitting there for now so he doesn't attack anything else. But let's go over back to the Spitterbud. The Spitterbud was created by Matt97 on the Discord server, or Mad Science Matt on GitHub. So he created a Spitterbud, which is a mob which is kind of rare, but it replaces a certain amount of creepers which are spawned on grass. So it spawns naturally, and let's see if we could get one over here. There we go. So this is a Spitterbud, and it shoots you and poisons you. So you can strafe it out, kind of like how you'd strafe a skeleton so it doesn't hit you. So it isn't too much of a threat. But that is not the main part of it, although this is pretty cool with the targeting and shooting system. The cool part about it is that when you attack it, there is a chance that it will drop a Spitterbud seed. And if you get a flower pot, a lingering potion of healing, and the Spitterbud seed along with some bone meal, then you can actually create your very own Spitterbud, which works for you basically. So it has instructions on the seed. Throw the seed onto a flower pot and water it with a lingering splash potion of healing to grow your very own Spitterbud. Be sure to feed it bone meal regularly. Now, lingering potions of healing require Dragon's Breath, so you might think that this is an endgame type of item. However, there's actually an added way to get Dragon's Breath in this data pack. So I'll show you that later, but let's create the Spitterbud flower pot, and let's throw the seed on top, and then let's get the healing splash potion. That's lingering, and you'll see you'll get your own Spitterbud, but you'll notice this time it's in the pot and it doesn't want to attack you. But what it does want to attack is other mobs. So if we get something like a creeper, you'll see that it gets shot by the Spitterbud plant. Basically how we were being attacked, but instead of attacking us, it's shooting the creeper. And it does include the poison effect too, if you haven't been able to notice. But it does shoot and get poisoned. And something to note also is that the Peashooter only shoots zombies, not creepers. So if you want to defend against both creepers and zombies, then you want to use the Spitterbud and the Peashooter. So they probably pair up together quite nicely. And you also want to feed it bone meal, as that's how I believe it gets healed or something. But it does say to feed it bone meal regularly, so I recommend doing that. So now let's get into how you actually get the lingering potion of healing in this data pack. So underground, creepers that spawn on stone under Y level 58 have a chance of becoming a glow shroom. So if we spam this here, you'll see that eventually one of the creepers is going to become a glow shroom. So as you can see, these are quite rare, but when these do come up, these are very powerful for getting Dragon's Breath, basically. So these are just a little mushroom which can be found underground. It looks pretty cute. It has a nice little custom player head on top of it. And when you break the end rod, you'll get the ghost light spores. And this is one bottle of Dragon's Breath. But as you can see, it says the undead flock to these bizarre mushrooms like moths to a flame. The spores it produces make for a viable alternative for Dragon's Breath. So this Dragon's Breath can be used in order to create that lingering potion of healing that you need in order to water the Spitterbud seed in order to create your own Spitterbud. So this is not really an endgame item, it's more of a mid-game item, or even an early game item if you are lucky enough to find one of those glow shrooms. So that's it for the Spitterbud. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, now let's get to the Auto Farmer, which was created by Dracomir on the Discord server. So what he created, you just saw it work. What he created was an Auto Farmer. So originally there was no crafting recipe, but I thought something like this really should have one, so I just quickly made one. So it requires a barrel, an observer, and an iron hoe in order to craft, and you just drop it onto the ground with a basic crafting recipe. And you get the Auto Farmer. So as you can see, you can just place this in a field, and it has the description of can harvest crops in a 5x5 area. And this is something that I could even see be in the default Minecraft game. It just feels like one of those type of items. But as you can see, in a 5x5 area, it's kind of self-explanatory. It can harvest all of the crops, and as you can see, when you bone meal them, they will automatically be harvested. So if I grow all of these, you'll see them get harvested immediately. But this piece of wheat that is outside the 5x5 area will not get harvested because it is too far for the Auto Farmer to reach. And this is a very useful tool that could be added into your game. And as you can see, the actual block itself is a barrel, which stores all of the seeds, extra seeds, and extra wheat, which is stored inside of the barrel. But if I place another Auto Farmer right next to this piece of wheat, it should harvest it. And it works as you would expect. It's pretty self-explanatory, but very well executed, very clean, and is something that I could see being added into the real vanilla form of the game. So the next data pack I have is quite decorative, but it is really cool. It's by El Sebastiano, and he created a data pack called Sky Plants. And as you can see, it adds quite a bit of stuff into the game. You have the small, medium, and big forms of these 5 trees. You have oak, spruce, dark oak, and jungle, and also dead bushes. And as you can see, there's small oak tree, medium oak tree, and big oak tree. And when you place these down, they spawn a nice decorative and randomly generated type of tree. So this is the small oak, this is the medium oak, and then the large oak. Let's see, I'll spawn it over here. And that is the large oak. And these trees are very nice looking. And I'll show you a collection of all the trees that he added over here. And these trees do have a bit of variety when you spawn them down. So these are the oaks, which I just showed you. And then this is dark oak. I really like this small one. It looks pretty cool. You have the small, medium, and big dark oak. This big dark oak is also pretty cool. But as you can see, I have a bunch of, I believe these are the medium dark oaks. As you can see by looking at the top, the shapes of these are quite random. So I do think that it's not just copy pasting. So this one and this one you could kind of see are similar. It's like rotated though. But this one and that one are completely different, like as you can see from the top. So these are quite random, and I think it would not look like you copy pasted the same tree over and over, even if you created a whole forest of the same size of tree, which I think is really nice. And these jungle trees are also probably my favorite of all of the trees, because they kind of look like they could be in a tropical area, but they could also be in a swampy area, because they kind of look like in between a palm tree and a willow tree. But I really like these, and I like how they come with extra melons with them too. So if you don't have melons, you could also use this as a way to get melons. And here are the spruce trees. These look pretty nice too. They do look rather similar, but they are also really nice. And these are really cool. So these are the dead trees. Now the small one doesn't really look like a tree. It looks like it kind of drooped over, I guess. But the large ones really look cool. So you can see all the stems coming out. And it's a really good way to get nether wart, so you don't have to go to the nether and look for one of those fortresses. If you have one of these dead trees, you can get this nether wart out of the side of it too. And these are really nice decorations and a pretty nice addition to the game. So let's go on to the next data pack. Okay, so the next one was created by Storm2103. He added the spirits and the Lorax into the game. So the spirits come with every wood type that is currently in 1.15. It does not come with the 1.16. However, maybe those will be added in the future. Who knows? But as you can see, these spirits, these 4 spirits, all have a really cool model. They all have their own unique look and their own face, their own unique eyes and everything, which I think is really cool. And there's a lot of detail in these. But as you can see, they are basically just little vexes which summon, and I'll show you where they come from. So if you destroy trees, what happens is when you destroy them once in a while, you'll get a spirit yell at you. It'll say, "That was my home, how dare you?" And then after that, it will come out and try to kill you. Now they're pretty easy to kill. They're just normal vexes. But when you destroy large amounts of trees, you can get quite a large swarm of these guys. Now, the sword I'm using is quite overpowered because it's from another data pack, and I added sharpness level 50 to it. But they are pretty easy to fight even without an overpowered sword. But they're more of an annoyance, and they try to persuade you into not destroying the trees. And I just really love all of these models. They're just really satisfying to look at. My favorite is probably this jungle one, just because of those green eyes. But these are all pretty cool. Now let's get into the Lorax part of this. So when you break too many trees, the Lorax comes and tries to kill you. Now he's not very good at it, but he does try. So in this data pack, when you mine, oh, there's another one of these guys. When you mine pieces of wood, you get a scoreboard which increases. It says trees cut. Now normally you can't see this, but it does record in the background. So once you get up to 190, you'll get a warning from the Lorax. It says, "I am the Lorax and I speak for the trees. Break them again and I'll break your knees." So the origin of this is the Lorax. If you don't know what it is, it's from a book by Dr. Seuss, I believe. And he created the Lorax, which is a character which tries to tell people to stop breaking the trees, and that's basically his message. And in normal Dr. Seuss fashion, he rhymes everything. So I thought it was kind of funny here what Storm did with making him warn him about killing you by rhyming. So once you get to 190, you get a warning, and once you get to 200, he actually tries to kill you. There we go. It says, "Don't say I didn't warn you," and the Lorax just jumps in from the sky or something. And oh, he runs around and chases you down. And he's not the hardest. He's about as hard as a normal baby zombie, but he is kind of fun to fight. So, normal baby zombie. And he is getting shot by my Peashooter, and he has died. And I totally forgot about the Peashooter, but I guess the Peashooter killed him. So as you can see, he's not very hard to fight, and he does get killed by the Peashooter. So if you want, you could just run back to your base surrounded by Peashooters and get him absolutely slaughtered by 50 Peashooters. That is one way to deal with him. Okay, so now let's get into Special Tree, created by Mining Cow on the Discord server. So if you get a sapling, you can use the special bone meal on it, which you can craft with 10 diamonds and a piece of bone meal. If you drop it on the ground, there's a pretty cool animation and sounds when you craft it. And you'll get your special bone meal. And let me just bring some extra in case it doesn't work. An axe and some scaffolding. Because if you use an oak sapling, I'll put it over here. You get an oak sapling and the special bone meal, you will get a special tree. Now, if you look at this normally, it'll just look like a normal looking nice tree. You might even confuse it with the large tree from the Sky Plants data pack. However, what is hidden inside of it is the special part of the tree. So if we go into it and burrow in, you'll see that there's a chest filled with diamonds and wood. So I got 2 diamonds there. Let's see how much I'll get. And I do believe that you get a profit, so it might be kind of overpowered sometimes, or maybe it won't be. Or maybe it might not be. I'm not sure. So if you use scaffolding, you can get to the very top of the tree very quickly. And as you can see, there's another chest right over here. And this one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we got 8 diamonds out of that. Oh, and I also didn't realize until later on that I forgot to loot this barrel, which was hidden on the inside of the tree. So with opening this up, I got 4 extra diamonds. That means that I actually did make a profit. I'm not sure about how much you'll get overall, if you'll get profit based on the loot table or not. I haven't actually checked the loot table, but it is pretty cool because it's kind of like you're gambling. That time I lost. I saw in the video where he actually showcased it, he got a lot more. I think he got a lot more diamonds than just 10, which is spent on the bone meal. But you also have to consider how many bone meals you use. So this whole special tree thing is basically like gambling with diamonds. So I think it's a pretty cool concept and is a fun addition into the game. Alrighty, so this is a really cool data pack, the one I'm about to show you. It's a very nice boss fight that was created with a bunch of special attacks and special moves inside of it. Now I'm going to do an example fight, but you don't get all of the special moves like every time depending on how you fight him. But I hope that you'll get to see what he does. So if we drop a diamond axe and a stack of oak leaves along with nether stars, depending on which tier you want to fight, either the 2, 4, 8, or 16 tier, then when you drop it together, you will see that it will summon the druid into the world. And the druid looks pretty peaceful, but it is quite not peaceful. So let me just get rid of these guys real quick so they're not in the way. So here is the druid, and as you can see, she has these little minions which also try to fight against you. And I do have already a sharpness 50 sword, which I gave myself, but even that is not helpful. Oh, as you can see, that was the second special attack. So the first one is summoning these little bosses, and the second one is giving you a whole load of debuffs, which just completely incapacitate you. And as you can see at the top with the boss bar, the druid does have quite a bit of health. And the thing is that the druid cannot take damage from a bow. And I'm lagging right now because I'm recording, but you probably won't be lagging too much when you're actually playing. And as you can see, the model also changes depending on how much damage is taken. So right now the face is really angry because I did quite a bit of damage to it. And oh shoot, well, I got completely destroyed. That is also another one of the special moves, is shooting a storm of arrows. So it is kind of hard to predict, but I do believe that, yeah, before summoning arrows or doing a special attack, it will freeze for a bit. And sometimes, I think it just did it just now, is it will teleport around and try to confuse you as to where it is. And I'm already dying. Oh boy, it's getting laggy. It's mostly laggy just because I'm recording. See, that time I was not hit by the arrows because I moved out of the way in time. So I think if you constantly strafe, you shouldn't be hit by the arrows. And usually the druid summons more. Oh, where'd she go? Oh, there. But as you can see, now I'm getting completely swarmed by the little minions. These headless minions. Oh, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die. And the reason I'm blind is because... Oh, crap. The reason I was blinded there at the end was because I dropped down to 1 health, and the data pack by XORSK 2006 actually causes you to become blind when you drop that low. Now, where did the druid go? And as you can see, I just finished off the druid, and the druid drops a bunch of stuff when it dies. Not sure if it's... Oh, crap. Not sure if it's worth it, and as you can see, I can't even jump because of the debuffs. Oh, there we go. It drops a bunch of lapis, emeralds, redstone, and diamonds, and also drops this totem of the goddess. Now, the model, I don't think this part is complete because it uses the model of the boss from XOR, so I don't think that there's actually there's a model for it or a use for it yet, but that's what he submitted, and the boss fight itself is really cool, along with all the different tiers and different special attacks, which make the boss fight really fun. So now, moving on from that really cool boss fight with all these special attacks, let's go into a really large data pack with a bunch of special items. Last but certainly not least is Nature Plus, created by the Fedora on the Discord server or the Money Raider on YouTube. So in order to get his stuff, do /reload, and his stuff is right here. It says, "Thanks for downloading Nature Plus. 6 living woods will now spawn in your world. Kill them to gain their loot. If you throw an enchanted golden apple onto a crafting table covered with vines, you will craft a plant crafter. And then in order to get the recipes, you throw 4 books and a seed onto the ground, and then you can fight a bunch of new mobs inside of a dungeon, which I'll be showing you. And click on this red text in order to get the items. And it will summon 2 barrels full of the custom items. As you can see, there are a lot of custom items here. And there's even these cool crafting recipe tablets, kind of, which I think is a really interesting way to do it. And that's how you get all the custom crafting recipes. And the basis for a lot of this stuff is all of these branches. So we got jungle, dark oak, acacia, spruce, and we got those branches. And we have oak and birch branches. And the way to get it is to kill the living woods that it said spawned. So there's only 1 per biome, I believe. So they're pretty rare to find. And when you do kill them, they will drop, not every time, but they will drop their living branch or whatever. Let's see if I can get it to drop. Oh, there we go. We got the dark oak branch. And this dark oak branch can be used for a bunch of different crafting recipes, which you can check here, and I highly recommend you go check out his showcase video. I'm just going to be showcasing some of the cool stuff that I like specifically from his data pack. So my favorite item is definitely this tree scepter here, which you can upgrade with golden bark and ender essence by dropping onto it. So as you can see, I upgraded the recharge time and I upgraded how long it lasts for. So when you click with it, you could basically teleport. It freezes the mobs around you and lets you dash somewhere quickly in spectator mode. And then it drops you off so that you basically teleported, since you moved without having any risk of taking any damage. And you also froze all the mobs around you. So if you were in the middle of a fight, you could just quickly teleport away. And I think it's really cool how this works, and I've never seen functionality like this before. And there's also, of course, a custom potion and custom weapons that he added into the game. And the most important part is the dungeon, which I will show you. But if you get a super sapling and a super bone meal, and you place it onto the ground and try to summon in a giant structure, what will happen is that it will not work because the growing conditions are incorrect. So you have to plant under Y67 and in the ocean. So I will go into a different location. I'm actually going to go into a different world and show you how that works. Okay, so I am back. The tree is completely done building and the water has all like flowed into the tree area. So I'm just going to go on a quick tour of this tree. I'm not going to go in detail. Of course, if you want to see it in detail, make sure you go check out the actual video by the Money Raider on YouTube. So let's go into this tree. Actually, before, let's check out these guys. So these are the root dwellers, I believe. And these guys have a special ability. It's too laggy for me to show right now since it just finished generating and there's a lot of entities. But if you play this, hopefully it won't be as laggy for you. But anyway, with these guys, they actually have a special ability, which I probably won't be able to demonstrate right now, where if you try stacking up so that you can cheese the fight and just shoot them with a bow and arrow, they actually pull you down into the roots of the tree and just destroy all these blocks so that they can get to you and hit you without you just running away. So anyway, let's go into the tree. So you'll notice there's a really huge entrance at the front of this huge tree, and you can just break into the front there and you will see that there is another type of enemy. You should see some bark soldiers. Yep. So these bark soldiers, which are here, and they protect the tree within the tree, which is pretty cool. This whole place is absolutely massive, but these bark soldiers are basically just sentinels that are blocking this tree. But if you're able to kill them, or you just run away and run into the center of the tree, you should see that there is a parkour system. So if you put this not at the bottom of the ocean like I did, it should not be flooded. But if it is flooded, I guess it makes it easier for you. But the thing about this is that once you're inside of here, it actually puts you into adventure mode. So you'll see I'm putting survival, but then when I actually go in here, it forces me into adventure mode. So I can't actually place blocks, and I cannot break any blocks or anything like that. So back in creative, you can go all the way through this huge tree, and you'll notice that I'm at the top of the inner tree. And once you're in here, you can try to look for the exit, and there is a way to get to the very top of this tree. Let's see if I could find it. Here it is. So the exit's here. It is guarded by 2 bark soldiers, and you already see the boss bar, but there is a boss called the Bark Mayor. And so if you climb up this hole here that is filled with vines, you can see the Bark Mayor, which is one of the bosses. And I'm not going to be able to show the actual fight, obviously, so you could go check out the video or download it and try it out for yourself. But he chucks these pieces of log at you, and when you kill him, you actually get the leaf bracelet. So I'll just kill him real quick with commands. You'll notice that he drops this green thing, which is the leaf bracelet, which is what I have in my hand. And when you click with it, it launches a log out that lands onto the ground and does damage to mobs, I believe, that it hits. And now we are in the interior of the massive tree that he created. It's absolutely crazy how big this thing is. But as you can see, there's a stairway to get all the way up. And then there is a whole lot of mobs in here just because it's so dark in here. And there's also, when you get to the top, there's multiple ways to get to the top. I'm too lazy to find the actual way to the top. But when you get to the top, you'll see that there are even more mobs. So when you're at the top, you'll see these leaf warriors that are pretty similar to the bark soldiers, but these are the guys that are defending this top layer. Oh, you'll see some of the structure blocks haven't gone away yet. But these leaf archers are basically all here for this leaf queen. And this leaf queen is the last boss, I believe, that is inside of this giant freaking tree that was created by the Money Raider. And she, I believe, has some special attacks, and usually once you start fighting her, the leaf warriors start to see you and start to attack you at the same time. But when you kill her, she drops some cool stuff, and she has a cool death animation. But she drops a bunch of this golden bark, which you could use for crafting recipes and to upgrade that tree scepter or tree wand that I showed you guys earlier. But this absolutely massive dungeon is really fun. You guys should definitely check it out, and check out the Money Raiders video. It'll be linked in the description below so that you guys could actually go and raid this giant thing for yourself. Okay, so those were all of the data packs that were submitted in the data pack challenge for the vegetation / nature topic. I hope you guys had fun if you made a data pack, and I hope if you didn't make a data pack you were inspired, or maybe at least thought it was kind of cool what other people were able to create. So if you want to play this for yourself, go click on the link in the description below for the download. And if you want a full explanation for the really huge data pack that the Money Raider created, the link for that will also be down in the description. And if you want to join the vote for the next topic for the data pack challenge, there should be a pinned comment in the data pack challenge channel in the Discord server. So if you want to vote, make sure you go over there and send in your vote. The next data pack challenge will probably have a more organized system for submitting stuff, so keep an eye out for the next data pack challenge video for further details on that. But anyways, see you guys in the next video.
Yeah.